Hello my friends and welcome back to The Rabbit Hole. In today's video, I am going to be reviewing and demoing the items that I purchased from the Florence by Mills collection. Now this video is not going to be my first time trying these products, so I think what I'll do for this video is apply them while I tell you about how they've been for me so far. This is not a long-term review. I've owned these products for about a week at this point, but long enough to be able to tell you which I think are worth trying and which ones I'm not loving as much. To be honest with you, this is about a 50-50 ratio, kind of, maybe a little higher. But let's go ahead and get into applying these. Now, I'm not going to do an intense look today. It's going to be light because that's the feeling I get with these products. I mean, I really do think it's a very Glossier aesthetic, or for younger people, which I talked about in my video on Monday. I really do think this is going to be very appropriate for younger people or people who like light makeup. I'm starting off with what might be my favorite product, or at least tied for my favorite, and that is the Like a Light skin tint. I'm not going to sing the song. I'm not going to do it because I will get the words wrong. This is the shade L030, and like all of the products from this line, it is clean, cruelty-free, vegan, dermatologist tested. We now know why that is such an important phrase for me to see on a box. And they're describing this basically as a non-greasy skin tint with nourishing oils meant to give your skin a gluey yes, a glowy finish, a glowy finish. I'm going to apply it with the IT Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe brush, by the way, even though I just put up a video saying that's not usually how I apply foundation. So I have it on the back of my hand, and I'm going to really lightly buff this into my skin. The impression that I get with this is that it's just meant to kind of give you a glow to your skin, enhance your natural skin, as opposed to really be a foundation. But the problem that I have with a lot of the skin tints or even light coverage moisturizers that I've tried is that they seem to really break up on the skin. You know, it might look nice where it looks nice, but then you'll have all these patchy spots. This actually holds together and genuinely does look like your skin. So there is the skin tint applied. After I do concealer and blush today, I will be setting this one with powder. I feel like you probably could get away with not setting it with powder, but I personally prefer to. So let me wrap this one up with a couple pros and cons. So the pros, obviously, like I already stated, I love how it goes on. I love that this is extremely easy to work with. It doesn't get patchy as it wears throughout the day. I absolutely love the ingredients list. I already talked about it, but just to touch on the ingredients, again, it is a very hydrating product with hyaluronic acid, with multiple humectants, sunflower oil, avocado, shea butter. There's really nothing in this particular product that I worry about. Definitely a great product, and we will do a wear test today, just so you know. We will check in at the end of the day and see how everything has held up. Then we have the See You Never Concealer. I bought the shade FL025. So this has a metal tip, but you're going to want to spread it out anyway. Alright, so I'm just going to use the other side of this brush, and then I'm going to blend it out with a beauty blender. That is really quite a light coverage. Let's go in with a little more just to kind of see what happens. I'll blend that out. I don't hate this product by any means. I'm just kind of about it. And if you do prefer a more even medium coverage concealer, which I think most people do, you're not going to like this at all. I just looked at the ingredients list. I'm not going to take this all over my face. I still have to conceal this acne over here, but it does. Do you see how it's a little bit reflective? It turns out it does contain mica, so we're just going to do it kind of a little bit of a gentle highlighting effect instead. Do you guys remember when beauty gurus were kind of talking about the strobing effect thing? I guess that's what I'm going to kind of go for today. Just so you guys know, I use the Catrice Liquid Camouflage in the shade 020 on the acne that I had. Pro, light coverage. Con, light coverage. Personal preference, y'all. Personal preference. It is really light. That is nice in some aspects, though, because you can't really overdo this. It's not going to crease. I mean, I don't have powder on yet. It's still not creasing. I find that the higher you go in coverage, the more likely a product is to crease. Pro, I actually do like the cooling tip. I find it to be a little gimmicky, if I'm being completely honest, but it feels nice. It's the same as those Jade Roller things, you know, it feels nice. Is it necessary? Is it doing a lot? Probably not. I find the ingredients list on this particular product a little less exciting. It does have mica in it, so it's going to have... mica's not the same as glitter, but it does give you a little bit of a shine. So again, you know, I think that's something some people will like and some people won't. This is another one of those products where they're saying it contains caffeine, but when I look at the ingredients list, I don't see it. So that means that it is probably really low in the ingredients, like too low to actually be displayed. That's usually what that means. I just don't think it's something that you need to purchase, but that said, if you're looking for something really, really light, a concealer that you actually don't have to set, that's important. This could still be for you. Let's move on to the blush though, because this is my other favorite. This one is getting a lot of hype. A lot of people are talking about it because it's a beautiful product. So I bought the shade Glowing G. I do typically like a little bit more of a bold blush, but what's fantastic about this is that even though it looks so bright, in this packaging, you can really sheer this out. You know, I was wearing this in Monday's video. You can barely tell, or you can put more of this on and get a more intense look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my BH Cosmetics brush. Hope you guys got your BH Cosmetics orders in off the Kohl website. And I'm going to dab this on, see how pigmented that looks? We can really sheer it out though. Pull this upwards because I like to pull my blush up. And then I'm blending this out with a medium-sized beauty blender. Oh, that is so cute. Okay, I'm actually going to add a little bit more because I'm me, and a tiny bit on my chin and my nose because personally, I like that look. Basically what I'm doing is bringing color to all the parts of my face that I like and kind of trying to detract from the breakout situation. So my final thoughts on the blush, absolutely one of my favorite products. It is so gorgeous. It is not greasy. It is not too dry. It spreads out wonderfully. It wears beautifully. It is buildable. I feel like I don't actually have anything bad to say about this aside from, you know, if you prefer a powder blush, then maybe you don't want to try this. But if you do like cream blushes, this compares to some cream blushes that I have that are a lot more expensive. And by the way, I did set my face with a little bit of the Lawless setting powder, and I have the Milk Gloss on. I'll put everything else that I'm wearing in the description box. It's not a lot. I'm trying to focus on this simple look. Okay, we're going to finish this off with the Florence Tint and Tame Brow Gel. I bought the shade Honey. I actually do like this, but I'm not sure how necessary it is. Some people seem to have a lot of mixed feelings on this. It is a very tiny spoolie, which I think is great, but that's because I have little tiny brows. You know, if you have more full brows, this might not work for you because you might get tired of how long it takes. For me, this is perfect. But I did try it on its own, and personally, it's just not enough on its own for me. Again, I have really sparse brows, so, you know, I had to start with my Benefit Precisely My Brow, and then I can add this to kind of lift my brows a little more. I actually contemplated doing my whole brow on camera today, but then I realized that's an unwritten rule of the beauty community. You don't do your brows on camera. You know, you snap, you disappear, and then your brows are done. God, I wish it worked that way in real life. So there is the end look of the Tint and Tame Brow Gel. I personally do like it, but again, I have really sparse brows, so I feel like that's where my pros and cons kind of focus. You know, as a pro, if you have sparse brows, it's really easy to work with. It's going to be pretty quick for you because, you know, it's small, it's easy to work with. It doesn't get out of control like some of the bigger spoolies do. But on the other hand, I could see it as a con. If you do have fluffier, more full brows, you might think it takes too long to work with. And as far as the hold, I would say it's okay. I like what it does for my brows, but I guess I feel like this is probably the least necessary for everybody, or at least the most specific in terms of who's gonna like it. One other thing I wanted to point out with this particular product is that this contains triethanolamine. Obviously, it's low in the ingredients list. You're not going to use a lot of this at once, but some portion of people do have an allergy to that. Everything else is fine, just this particular product. So that is the end look. I will come back to you guys at the end of the day and we will see how everything holds up. But for now, I think it was a really fast, really nice look. So it has been 8 hours and I wanted to give some final thoughts after doing the wear test, mostly about the skin tint and the concealer. So for this wear test, I did not use a setting spray, nor did I powder throughout the day. I absolutely think that if you have more normal to oily skin or potentially even dry skin like myself, you might want to use a setting powder at least once to touch up. I probably would have done it at about hour 5 or 6 because that's where I started to notice that this skin tint went from being mostly transfer resistant, like you could basically lightly touch your skin and it wouldn't come off on your fingers, to starting to transfer. It was about that hour for me. So, if that happened and I wasn't doing a wear test, I would put powder on. But I just wanted to do this as straightforward as possible. So yeah, I do think, with it containing as many oils as it does, two things are going to happen throughout the day. One is your skin is going to look more plump, more moisturized, since that's basically the same ingredients you would use in a moisturizer. So that's great if you have more mature skin. If you have any fine lines, it's going to puff them up. But if you do have more oily skin, you're gonna look more oily. So my final thoughts on the skin tint, I personally really like it. Do keep in mind that I have dry skin, but I really do think this is going to be beautiful on younger skin. It's going to be beautiful on more mature skin. It's just gonna be beautiful on anybody, but potentially too oily for oily skin types. And then as far as the concealer, I kind of want to amend something that I said about this because I was thinking about this through the day and I realized that this might actually have another target audience that I hadn't quite considered, and that would be people who do not wear any type of foundation, no skin tint, but do want to brighten their under eyes. I use Tatcha's The Pearl for that. That's quite a pricier product than this one. And yet I do actually think, I don't want to say the results compare because they're very different products, but both are brighteners. So, if you're looking for just brightening, this could be the product. Especially because I have seen people say that they're looking for a concealer that doesn't, look like makeup. This doesn't look like makeup. This may even be something for men. It's not marketed for men at all, but yeah. My thoughts haven't changed on these products. I really love the blush, and I think the brow product is going to be, again, for people with thinner brows. But overall, I'm really quite impressed with the brand. I'm personally very glad that I spent I believe this was $64. Not a bad price at all. By the way, if you purchase these from Ulta, you can use the $3.50 off the $15 purchase coupon. I almost didn't check that. For some reason, in my head, I was like, oh, this is surely prestige. And then I applied that coupon and was like, oh, just kidding, it works. That is all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.